and welcome back to Balance Patch for Round 6, the final win and in round before Top Cut here at the Midseason Showdown. I'm Jacob Lintner, joined by Naeem, and I'm so excited.
I'm
like
too
we were
excited,
just talking off air about how excited we both are for this matchup.
Yeah, this matchup is a very, very impressive one indeed. We got some high-quality players. Let's introduce them.
Absolutely. So we'll start with Jacob Teague's team. Jacob Teague is going to be playing against Jeremy O'Dena. We'll get to some of his accomplishments a little bit later on. But for Jacob's team, immediately, what stands out to you, Naeem?
That Ogie Dogie boy? Oh, come on. And Suicune, too. So crazy of picks. Okay, Suicune with the Mental Orb is pretty cool because you got some really powerful items here. But Okie Dogie, bro? I haven't seen that since early Rank F, maybe?
Absolutely.
Come on.
Jacob is a player in New England, well known for using some very unorthodox, outside of the box strategies. And I think you really see this is very much to me a Corrosion, a Jacob Teague team. The Suicune I think is a really cool pick. It does a lot of things that not a lot of other Pokemon can do. The speed control with Tailwind plus Icy Wind, you're so bulky that it really doesn't matter that you don't have priority on your Tailwind.
Right.
You get Snarl for damage mitigation, which means that you don't have to run Snarl on something like Raging Bolt, allows you to be a little bit more offensive with that booster energy. But even outside of the Pokemon selection, the sets that some of these Pokemon run, I think is really interesting. The Choice Band Landorus with Terra Fairy Terra Blast.
Yes, dude.
I'm so excited, and I would love to see us get a Landorus Terra Fairy Terra Blast off today.
Bro.
The other one is the Throat Spray Calyrex Shadow Rider. Of course, as you've seen all day, this Calyrex should be on top of that Ghost Horse. You get the Throat Spray activation from clicking Snarl, a sound move, lowers your opponent's special attack, boosts your own.
Oh, come on.
So your Astro Barrages now are just doing crazy damage, and it helps offset things like Snarl that opposing teams like to use to slow down your Calyrex.
And one move I want to showcase really quickly on that Suicune is a move that all water types get anymore.
Yeah.
And it's that Scald, dude. The 30%. Okay, so 30% is a huge number, but if you hit 30%, it's basically 50%, right? So you're hitting 50%, but 50% is a lot, so it might as well be 100%.
I was going to say,
yeah. But yeah, Skull, very important. But let's look over at Jeremy here.
Yeah, Jeremy's team, a little bit more inside the box, I think we'd say. The Zamazenta, the most common restricted Pokemon here at Balance Patch today. But I think a couple of interesting takes on the Zamazenta compositions that we see here that Jeremy has that not all of them do. I think that the big one is the Flutter Mane. I'm very interested to see actually what that booster energy is. Typically you'd think a speed boosting Flutter Mane pairs very nicely with your Zamazenta, with your Raging Bolt, because it allows you to click Icy Wind. But we don't see an Icy Wind on this Flutter Mane. You have Taunt instead, and so could it be a special attack boosting Flutter that really just does a lot more damage on the special side than opposing teams might be ready for?
I find it very interesting that Suicune has a Mental Herb now. Seeing that Flutter Mane here with a Taunt, that might actually come up. Now you can't safely click that option to turn off that Tailwind.
But for Jeremy's side, the Pelipper, a little bit different from some of the other Pelippers we've seen too, where his is actually carrying Tailwind instead of just the regular box standard Protect. So this Pelipper, no way to protect itself from a single target move. It does, of course, have Wide Guard to help against that Calyrex Shadow Rider, and a potential Earthquake from the opposing Landorus.
Sure.
But the Pelipper does have its own speed control to help match Tailwinds with that opposing Suicune.
In a way, it's like kind of circumventing that loss of Taunt, because now I can match Tailwind with you at least, right? I still have an option. I can still play the game. And that's what I love about teams like this. Very well constructed, very well thought out.
Exactly. You can really see kind of what Jeremy is going for in his team building process. It's built around the Zamazenta. How am I going to be able to really maximize this Pokemon? It's a physical attacker, so you surround it with a Raging Bolt, a Flutter Mane that are going to hit very hard on the special side. You need speed control, you want redirection with a Moongus, and of course the Incineroar just kind of ties everything together.
Sure.
Whereas on Jacob's side, for me, it's a little bit difficult to see even how this team wins games.
Okie dokie, bro.
I think it is. The Calyrex, you can, of course, see there are a lot of win conditions, the Choice Band Landorus, the booster energy on the Raging Bolt, and of course Calyrex Shadow Rider. But how do they all actually work together? I'm so excited to see.
I'm so excited to see it. That's why we're about to start playing it right now. They're readying up their teams. I think they've already selected them, and here we go into the match.
Yeah, and of course, very excited for both of these players. It's a little bit of a different take on both of these teams, both the standard team versus the kind of out of the ordinary. We also have a very established player in Jeremy Odena and a much newer player to the scene in Jacob Teague. As we get started here, the Zamazenta and Amoonguss for Jeremy, staring down the choice band Landers right away next to that Suicune for Jacob.
One thing Jacob doesn't have to worry about is trying to manage Intimidate because they don't have a Incineroar on their team. And of course, Zamazenta doesn't even care about Intimidate at all, so that's one thing you just don't have to worry about. I actually kind of like that. You can use that body press for huge damage, of course. You can use the Iron Defense to boost that even further. Such a good Pokemon. A lot of people slept on it early on.
Oh yeah, the Zamazenta, it really kind of feels like the restricted Pokemon with as few bad matchups as possible. And I think we're seeing it here, where even into this Landers Therian, which Zamazenta with a -1 attack doesn't really have a great way to damage the Landers directly.
Right.
With the Amoonguss on the field next to you, you're able to actually threaten that with status, with redirection, as we are going to see the Landers immediately pick that. Oh, rather, it's Terra Flying. I do believe that yes, it is Terra Flying on the actual team sheet. So that was a little bit of a mistake in the graphic earlier. It is Terra Flying Landers, and we confirm with a team sheet in front of us too.
Yes.
So an immediate choice band Terra Flying Terra Blast into this Amoonguss.
Goodbye.
And yeah, I don't think there's ever a hope.
I mean, that's a one-hit knockout for sure that you could have very easily see coming. I mean, once you saw that terrestrialization, it was pretty much over.
And we are seeing the Control Freak, I think a very apt name for the Suicune on the nicknames. Getting that speed control off right away with an Icy Wind would likely mean that this Landorus is going to be faster than Zamazenta. I think the other important note, of course, not only is this Landorus choice locked into a Terra Flying Terra Blast, which the Raging Bolt loves to see, but we did get word, an official oopsie from Gerd behind the stream.
What I find interesting is now it's a little hard to go ahead and click a terrestrialization on Zamazenta because it would be grass regardless, right? And it's still going to take super effective damage.
Oh.
And I told you, 100%.
100%.
100% burn chance. What are we talking about? It's Skull. Did we forget? Oh my goodness. Come on now. Okay. Wow. He clicked it once.
He clicked it once.
He clicked it one time.
And of note, now we know the Suicune now is faster than the Zamazenta with just -1 speed. So we know that likely it's the Zamazenta not trained very heavily in its speed stat. It could also be a Suicune that has a little bit more speed investment than we might have thought, because it did still outspeed the Raging Bolt on Jeremy's side. Wow. Now the Okie Dokie on the field, and another Electroweb coming out. Going to move first. You don't see often a Raging Bolt being the fastest thing in the field.
Nah, not very often at all, but hey, that electric net's coming through. Body press doing a significant portion of damage. Goodbye, Suicune. That is a knockout.
Wow.
And Suicune's a very bulky Pokemon, so the fact...
And a critical hit.
Taking that fallen comrade seriously. He said, you're not going to just knock out my boy like that. You can't do that.
And Okie Dokie, he took that personal.
He took that personally.
He said, a burn Zamazenta, you're not doing 50% to my Suicune.
That's impossible.
I'm getting that back
in dividends.
In HP. I'm getting that back in my HP bar.
Yes, sir.
Drain Punch, get it right back. And now we are going to see the final Pokemon for Jeremy here.
We got here so quick. Final Pokemon, only 2 left. That's so crazy.
And that's I would not have expected that. Seeing these two teams, that we'd see such a fast-paced trading of Pokemon.
Right?
I don't think that's either of these teams' MO.
No, not even close, but here we are. And now Photosynthesis is going to trigger off and get that special attack increase. That's scary.
I'm going to be so honest, Naeem. I missed the Fluttermane's booster energy.
Yeah, I missed it as well. Well, okay, maybe if we check real quick. Hold on. Can we get a... I'm joking. But we'll see it soon. We're going to see how much damage it does.
I think we are going to get a little bit of help from our producer extraordinaire behind the screen. But Fluttermane will protect immediately, not going to have to reveal any information right now. And a matching protect from the other booster energy mon on the other side. What now does this Raging Bolt even have? It's just an Electroweb, just trying to get a little bit more speed control, I suppose. Yes. Trying to catch the Landorus on the switch-in. That Landorus being a pure flying type just really does not want to see this Raging Bolt on Jeremy's side still.
Yeah, and we just got word. It is a special attack increasing Proto. It's really, really powerful now. That special attack is coming from that Pokemon's going to be insane. Fluttermane no slouch for sure. It just does so much damage, but right now it's not really in a position it kind of wants to be in. So yeah, I can definitely see going for a Terra on that into that fairy slot.
Yeah, it does threaten a knockout, or at least it should threaten a knockout on either one of these slots with a special attack boosting Terra Fairy Moonblast. I would imagine should pick up the KO on this Okidogi. It's not holding the Assault Vest item, rather holding those safety goggles.
Okay.
So whichever target Fluttermane chooses should feint to this attack.
Right. But
the question is Jacob able to take advantage of that and KO Fluttermane back with the other slot?
Oh, that's really scary. Moonblast coming out and targeting down. Oh,
wow.
It survived. Dragon Meteor coming down at Okidogi. Okay. That's a kill.
Okidogi being knocked out. I honestly didn't know that Draco Meteor would knock out Okidogi.
Yeah, that was crazy. Dragon Pulse coming into the slot over here. Oh my goodness, that wasn't even a crit. That's the special attack boost for
That's
you.
a special attack booster. Yeah,
137.
We heard it all day from you.
Come on, man. It's a significant number.
But here we see the important difference in both of these Pokemon, or at least in that last turn. No Electroweb available on Jacob's side, on their Raging Bolt at the very least. So no way to get speed control against this Fluttermane. Still the fastest thing in the field. Yes, you can threaten a Thunderclap into that slot, but I would imagine Fluttermane from full HP, even with the critical hit, likely still survives that attack.
It's a lot of special defense in that Pokemon, even though not a lot of HP, but that special defense is quite high. There goes Thunderclap into that slot. Not bad damage at all, actually.
Yeah, not bad damage, but we'll certainly put it into range of this Fluttermane's Moonblast. And now, will Jacob's Raging Bolt, left at just about 1 HP, be able to pull this one off?
That's a tough sell coming out, man. I don't know. It depends on who's faster. Can we get the knockout first of all? Okay, that's definitely a knockout here.
They will take the safe knockout into the Raging Bolt on the other side. And now I think it is, trying to play for that Thunderclap critical hit. I think more than anything, we kind of glossed over the fact that this non-Assault Vest Raging Bolt survived a special attack Photosynthesis boost, Terra Fairy Moonblast, just straight up.
Just taking it.
I know the last time we were on the mic together, Neem, we talked a lot about Raging Bolt, how bulky it was with Assault Vest, how well it won damage trades. This is taking it to a whole new level, not even needing the Assault Vest, and now we see it does less than half of Fluttermane's HP. Not going to be enough, even with the critical hit. And so Jeremy is going to take the first game here, but I think we got a lot of really interesting information, and if Jacob is able to preserve the terastallization on Landorus, maybe a little bit more, I think that might have been a little bit rash on that first turn. Of course, you see an Amoonguss, you want to click your strongest, super effective move into it, just get it off the field.
It's Amoonguss. I understand.
We get it.
I get it.
But putting yourself now in a position where you are now weak to the opposing Raging Bull, you don't have the speed control that you were able to get with Suicune early in the game, no Tailwind set up on their side. I think those are some key differences that Jacob can look forward into Game 2 and make some adjustments on that end. I think they brought a good set of 4. I think it's very interesting, too. We also didn't even talk about, they left the Calyrex Shadow at home.
Didn't even take it.
Didn't even bring the restricted Pokemon.
We were talking earlier about how big a difference that is, right?
Yeah.
Just all that stats locked into that one Pokemon. Didn't take it.
Yeah, and that is your one Pokemon that should, at the very least,
be
in the game, but would at the very least outspeed the opposing Fluttermane, if assuming you're trained to be faster than the Fluttermane with your Calyrex Shadow. But we'll get another look here at Jeremy's team, and something that I neglected before we began that round, Jeremy's accomplishments. This is a player who's been around on the scene, pretty active since at the very least 2016. Not only made Day 2 of the World Championships back in 2018, but in 2019 was the champion of the DC Open, the tournament that they held at the World Championships that year for basically all but the very best performers of the World Championships. A monumental accomplishment and a fantastic player that we're lucky to have here in New England, getting back into the scene again this year.
Absolutely. He just told me he came back from a break, and I'm happy to see him.
And we see, he's coming back in, swinging, trying to get that win inning for the top cut of today's tournament, as we're going to see the Zamazenta next to Raging Bolt for Jeremy's side, and this Landorus once again on lead next to an Okidogi for Jacob.
Now, Okidogi is such an interesting choice, man, and it's got to be that interesting typing it is. It's the poison fighting, right? Just Very weird. But hey, it threatens the Zamazenta with some super effective fighting moves. Oh wait, actually it's not super effective, is it?
No, it is still super effective.
Oh, it is.
It's still super effective, but Zamazenta is just so bulky. The Amoonguss switches in immediately for the Raging Bolt, and I think the Amoonguss is what Jacob was trying to catch with his lead, because you have the ability to taunt into that slot with your Okidogi. Rather, it's just going to be a Choice Band Stomping Tantrum that does
did a lot of damage.
a lot of damage.
Oh, that triggers Rocky Helmet. I forgot. That's a contact move.
A contact move. And Zamazenta already got the one Iron Defense up. Now at +3 defense, going to be extremely difficult to do any damage with both of the Pokemon that Jacob has on the field right now. You'll have to hope that there's something in the back that can threaten that Zamazenta a little bit more. But the Landorus will actually switch out here.
How interesting. I really want to see what this Pollen Puff is going to do here. It'll negate all the damage coming out from Okidogi if Okidogi does end up attacking into that Zamazenta slot. Let's see what it looks like. Body press going in there.
That's a resisted hit.
That's a lot of damage. Another taunt.
Another taunt.
Hey, I like that.
I think that is why we saw the Okidogi adaptation on lead, is because you can taunt this Amoonguss. You don't have to commit your Terastallization with Landorus immediately. You're able to stay as a ground type, which is much better in this case for both the Zamazenta and the Raging Bolt that we see that Jeremy has brought once again in this set.
But hey, guess what we do see now in play? It is a restricted, right? I want to see how much damage this thing can do.
And of course, the Zamazenta is not able to body press this Calyrex Shadow.
Not even
The Snarl comes out. It will miss Zamazenta, but it hits the important target, catching Raging Bolt. Another critical hit.
And now we're going to see the activation of that Throat Spray, getting me that special attack value.
That no wide guard available for Jeremy right now.
Not bad. Heavy Slam just not as powerful as a body press, obviously, but that's still pretty good. That was a super effective hit. That was a super effective punch, and it did nothing.
It did nothing. And the resisted body press, that just shows you the strength of Zamazenta, why it's the most used restricted at this tournament here today, is that you're able just to beat pretty much every physical attacker as long as you get an Iron Defense up. Even resisted hits into super effective hits, you're winning those damage trades even after the Drain Punch recovery that Okidogi gets.
Yeah.
And that's something that Okidogi loves to do, is just win damage trades, recover back off HP with those Drain Punches. We are going to see Landorus coming back onto the field. Zamazenta, importantly now at -2 attack, really won't be doing too much with the Heavy Slam into Calyrex Shadow.
Okay, oh, that's a pretty good chunk for a spread move, but man, they're still on the board. Oh, wow.
That's a resisted hit. We got to mention one more time, that's a resisted hit.
What is this?
Well, but, and honestly, I don't know if Landorus surviving through that turn is necessarily the best thing in the world. I think, it does give you some more options into the Calyrex Shadow Rider, but importantly here too, even though Raging Bull is at -1 special attack from that Snarl earlier, a Thunderclap may be enough to pick up this Calyrex on Jacob's side.
I would love to see if... I think Landorus is the fastest thing on the field at the moment, right? So maybe if we saw something like, I don't know, Rock Slide into Shadow Rider double hit, that could be enough. I don't know.
Well, the Calyrex on Jacob's side is going to be the fastest thing in the field.
Calyrex is faster. Oh, okay, we're going to withdraw. Never mind, I guess.
Yeah, and I believe we did see... I can't remember actually the speed interaction between Landorus and Zamazenta, but the Zamazenta will just protect. Okidogi coming right back out. And now the question is, the Draining Kiss, not enough to pick up that KO on Raging Bolt, who will be able to fire back now. I believe we saw Snarl locked in. Or no, it's an Electro Web.
Not doing that much damage, but the speed dump is exactly what we want here. It's going to make this much more manageable for Jeremy.
Yeah, now the Zamazenta should be the fastest thing in the field. Raging Bolt likely not going to be trained to be faster than the Calyrex Shadow Rider, even with the speed drop, but just important to get that speed drop on the board for Zamazenta and for potential Flutter Mane in the back to allow them to outspeed and make it much easier to deal with that scary, scary Pokemon.
It just goes to show that you have to always remember the fundamentals: speed control, speed control, speed control. Man, it's just such a good move on the perfect Pokemon, man. Raging Bolt just does so much. It's the perfect package.
It's the perfect package. No, you're so right.
Okay, here we go. We're going to bring back in this Landorus. Going to go ahead and decrease that attack on the Zamazenta again.
The Thunderclap failing, targeting into the
it survived,
Caloric
nice.
slot, and it does survive another body press. Drain punches right back.
That's so close.
And does not quite knock out the Zamazenta. I would have liked to see this Okidogi attack into the Raging Bolt, because that should have been in range of either a Drain Punch or Poison Jab. You get rid of the priority option, limit Jeremy's options to at least switch around Pokemon.
Heavy Slam. Okay, so it is faster, just not going to be enough here. Landorus will go down, and likely this Okidogi will go down with it.
Yep, Okidogi now
Or-
seeing it is slower than this Raging Bolt, and the Electro Web
I thought it
comes
dodged
out.
for some reason. I was like, oh, hold on.
No,
Yo,
there's just that pause.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Yeah, there's that pause right after a Pokemon is knocked out where, a lot of times it looks like a move will miss. I've gotten that a million times, even with 100% accurate moves. I just get scared every time it's going to miss. But the Calyrex Shadow now coming out in a very strong position, and likely this is what Jacob had planned pretty much all along with that Landorus coming back in on the field. Calyrex, the fastest thing on the field. Both of these Pokemon now in range of an Astral Barrage.
Yes.
And it'll just depend. Is this Calyrex going to be bulky enough to survive a Thunderclap with -1 stage of special attack from Jeremy's Raging Bolt? And I do think so. Knowing Jacob as a team builder, likely has a lot of bulk invested into that Calyrex Shadow, and we see it right there.
Thunderclap going in, going to finish off this Zamazenta, which means this will be a single target attack coming from Calyrex.
I don't know if I understand that Thunderclap. It just takes away a KO that your Calyrex could have taken. Of course, Calyrex, you do knock out both Pokemon on Jeremy's side, but now your Calyrex is only boosted by one stage of special attack instead of 2.
Yeah.
Where with a +2 on your special attack, now you maybe threaten the Amoonguss to knock out that Pokemon. So I think the Thunderclap may have been really the one mistake that I've seen Jacob make.
Yeah.
Maybe
a Snarl would have just been better there, just not to guarantee you don't take a KO, and just do a little bit of damage, and then get that answer of doing the damage on both Pokemon and getting the double special attack raise.
Yeah, or click a Thunderbolt, try to catch anything that might be switching in on that turn.
Yeah, sure.
We're still in a state where this Calyrex Shadow should still be the fastest thing in the field. It now just comes down to this turn. The Raging Bolt on Jacob's side, of course, can click a Thunderclap, can put Flutter Mane, even if it commits Terrestrialization, into range of an Astral Barrage. But the Amoonguss, of course, has Rage Powder.
I suspect that we'll see a Draco Meteor coming into that Amoonguss, but before that, first we will see the Terrestrialization into the Fairy typing here. Here we go.
This Flutter Mane, we've already seen the Raging Bolt roll. It may have been a damage roll, but it already survived one Terra Fairy Moonblast. But we do still have Terrestrialization available on Jacob's side. I had forgotten.
Yeah.
So this Raging Bolt will Terrestrialize into an Electric type, getting rid of that weakness to Fairy moves.
And making that stab? Yes,
absolutely making all those moves stronger. Might not matter too much this turn because the Amoonguss is clicking Rage Powder. But Jacob does at least get that Protect correct. Jeremy had targeted into the Calyrex slot with a Moonblast. Now, what will this Raging Bolt do?
Oh, that's huge. This is a free attack coming out here now. It is going to be that Thunderbolt. It's going to have that really nice power increase boosted.
Wow. That's still strong for a resisted hit.
Yeah, for a resisted on Amoonguss, yeah.
And likely puts Amoonguss into range of a +1 Astral Barrage.
Another Protect.
The double protect.
Is insane.
I don't know if you even needed to do that.
But we are here now. Rage Powder, is it going to be the same exact play again?
Unless Jacob is so certain that...
That's insane. That's insane. Okay, but now the Dragon Pulse this time. This should be a knockout. There it is. Now it's a 2v1 situation. Wow, no way. And double protect?
The double protect. Again, unless Calyrex is slower than this Flutter Mane, I don't know that you needed to make that play. But it worked.
It worked.
And okay, so we do see now the Calyrex is slower. Oh, it was okay.
It's
speed booster Flutter.
Speed on Flutter. Okay, that makes so much more sense.
Makes so much more sense.
Wow.
I had sworn we saw a special attack.
I swore we saw a special attack.
I swore.
Okay. Maybe it's us.
But the Terra Electric booster energy Thunderbolt into this Flutter Mane, going to not pick up the KO. It's crucial damage roll that we know, but the Thunderclap, of course, comes back out. Or we know this Raging Bolt will survive that Moonblast anyway. You could just click another Thunderbolt. A masterfully played game 2 there for Jacob. And you know, credit where credit's due. Something that we both missed, the Flutter Mane Photosynthesis boost. I swear we'll get that right for game 3.
Yo, we saw special attack.
We saw special attack. I'm sorry, you all at home, you saw special attack. I think we all saw special attack. But game 3, I know we'll get that one right.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm certain we'll get it right for game 3.
Special attack on Bolt is
special attack on Bolt, speed booster on Flutter.
Correct.
And so we do see then why Jacob had to go for that double protect.
Yes.
Because there really isn't a better play for you to make in that position. And now getting another look at his team, we've seen some of the crucial pieces. We didn't see the Suicune that was dropped in game 2, replaced by the Calyrex. I don't know how much of a place Rillaboom has in this match. I think it's a very interesting piece because you do have your fake out pressure.
Yes.
You're able to just trade damage pretty favorably with this opposing Flutter Mane. The Wood Hammer will threaten a one-hit KO. And you do have the ground move and high horsepower for the Raging Bolt.
Absolutely.
The problem is you really don't want to give Grassy Terrain Recovery to any Pokemon on Jeremy's side, especially that Zamazenta that's going to keep boosting its defense.
Speaking of Zamazenta, one thing we do know Jacob is not going to do again is try to go for taunt on this Zamazenta when we know it's slower now. It's not going to get value out of that taunt into that slot, so it might as well do something else. What that something else is, I don't know, but we're about to find out.
Yeah, the Okie Dokie, I think, was a very strong contributor. I hope we see that again
here. Yes, absolutely.
And I loved seeing it on lead, which we'll see once again here in Game 3 as Jacob runs it back. And Jeremy leading Zamazenta, Amoonguss. And like I said at the beginning of Game 2, I think this is the lead that Jacob was hoping to get with these two Pokemon.
Yes.
Because your Okie Dokie threatens Taunt onto both slots, but especially onto this Amoonguss.
Yes, Amoonguss being able to be shut down here is exactly what we wanted, which is why we're seeing a switch out coming into a different Pokemon here. It's going to be Raging Bolt. I think that's a really good switch. Raging Bolt is going to be able to take pretty much anything that you throw at this turn, unless maybe Stomping Tantrum goes in and does some damage to that slot, but it should be fine.
The Stomping Tantrum does go off, but into the Zamazenta slot, and at +3 defense, really not doing too much.
There goes the taunt that we were just talking about as well. Nicely done from Jeremy, voiding that altogether.
Yeah, just a very strong play from Jeremy right there on turn 1. Looks like, he kind of had that planned out the entire time. He did, a kind of player who I don't think is very easily rattled.
Nah, not at all.
Of course, anytime your opponent gets a double protect in an endgame like that in Game 2, I think it's pretty easy to kind of get in your own head about it.
Yeah.
But he knew if he sees the same lead, he knows exactly the play he's going to make. And now the Zamazenta, not taunted, able to just click another Iron Defense if he wants it, or rather just get damage off because we saw the damage that did in Game 1. Body Press, a 2-hit KO from a resisted move into this Landorus.
Now hold on, this is starting to add up. The damage on the Zamazenta is looking pretty critical. 49 HP left on Zamazenta. Another couple of attacks like that, and we could see it off the board for good.
Yeah, the important thing, though, is that Zamazenta does threaten a KO onto this Landorus slot with a Body Press, and Amoonguss back onto the field can just click Pollen Puff back.
Anything. Oh, Pollen Puff.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Can just Pollen Puff everything back up on the Zamazenta. I think it'll depend on if Drain Punch will do enough from Okie Dokie to pick up this KO.
Oh, I love this switch, bringing in the Ghost typing on a Body Press. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what we like to see. That is a nothing of a turn. Taunt is coming out here, too. You better have Pollen Puff, or that's another turn of nothing. Oh, there it is. Oh, my gosh. That's a lot of HP.
And now Zamazenta right back above half.
Oh, that's so good.
All of the progress that Jacob had made over those last couple of turns.
Negated.
Looks like Zamazenta pretty much right back where it was after one Stomping Tantrum. But now Zama next to this Amoonguss. The Amoonguss has been taunted, not able to threaten a Rage Powder or a Spore, which in this position, you really don't need Amoonguss on the field terribly badly.
Not terribly.
But the Zamazenta now threatens a ton. Again, important thing, at -1 stage of attack, the only move it has to hit this Calyrex Shadow Rider is the Heavy Slam. Astro Barrage comes out, and it does not look like it would 2-hit KO the Zamazenta from that range. As Body Press, the Okie Dokie takes that much better than Landorus, and his Drain Punch chip, I believe, puts Zama into range. of another Astral Barrage.
Nice. This is exactly what Jacob is looking for. The game is slowly slipping out of control for Jeremy, but it's not over yet. They still have some moves with, of course, they have this really powerful Raging Bolt on the board. Can definitely do something with that, maybe going into the Okie Dokie slot, but I'm not sure if they will find a KO there either, so it's looking a little dicey.
And this is the position you love to be in if you are a Calyrex Shadow player. Fastest thing on the field.
Yes.
Nothing can outspeed or KO you at this point, and you do threaten a knockout onto the Zamazenta. Of course,
Oh, okay.
really, they protect
Okay.
from Jacob's end, trying to suss out what exactly Jeremy wants to do as the body press comes out.
I actually gotta say, I like this decision. We're gonna get more damage on Zamazenta, so we can guarantee our spread move next turn does get a knockout.
Or we see an attack go into this raging. No, it's going to be just a drain punch into Zamazenta.
Keeping it safe.
I was thinking if we get an attack onto this raging bolt, a poison jab, especially if you get the poison on that turn,
that would be
puts
so
that
sick.
into range of an Astral Barrage. But Jacob playing it a little bit more safe. Does not get the knockout onto Zamazenta, so we know that from turn 2, or turn 3 it might have been,
Sure.
when Zamazenta was at 49 HP, the Drain Punch wouldn't have been enough on that turn.
Wow,
Zamazenta
okay.
switching out at
Interesting.
5 HP.
We want our Zamazenta, not giving it to you for free.
No.
No. But hey,
Okidogi going to switch out as well.
wow. I did not foresee a switch on Okie Dokie either.
No, the Landers comes right back out. And at least we will see this Calyrex Shadow Rider. Actually, it could have been the Calyrex on Jacob's side, angling to try to pick up the knockout onto Zamazenta with Snarl instead of Astral Barrage. Getting it down low enough because now you're able to Terra Fairy with your Calyrex Shadow Rider. You can click Snarl or just Draining Kiss right away.
Stab Drain Kiss is pretty good. You're going to get a decent amount of recovery and a large amount of damage
Oh,
on Raging
wow.
Bell. Yeah, that's pretty good.
And an Electro Web, not going to affect the Landorus at all, will slow down this Calyrex Shadow Rider, though, now making it slower than the opposing Zamazenta. And Amoonguss still sitting pretty
Yeah,
on
pretty
this
pretty.
turn. I had to make sure I was saying the words in the right order. Of course, is threatened by a lot of damage from an Astral Barrage, plus, say, a Stomping Tantrum from this Choice Band Landorus. But based on the damage that we've seen both of those moves do, I don't think that double up would knock out Amoonguss. No taunt on the field from Jacob's side. Gives you a pretty free Spore into whatever slot you want.
I like the Spore here as well. Rage Powder is interesting, but I gotta think, a spread move is coming out regardless from Shadow Rider, so Rage Powder does seem interesting here. Let's see what we redirect. Probably a Stomping Tantrum going into, that's going to go into the movie slot, so not going to do too much damage.
And does get the Rocky Helmet chip onto this Landorus. We'd see even at -1 speed, this Calyrex Shadow is going to be faster than the Raging Bolt.
Oh, that was almost a
And
double knockout.
Does not knock out Amoonguss.
Wow. Special attack increase incoming.
And we do see the special attack boost. Of course, again, just an important note that this Calyrex Shadow Rider is now slower than the Zamazenta.
And weak to steel.
And weak to this heavy slam, where Zamazenta gets onto the field with no Intimidate. 2 Pokemon on Jeremy's side with a combined 16 hit points, and still threatening so much damage onto both of Jacob's Pokemon.
All right, here's the thing, right? Amoonguss could go for Pollen Puff into Zamazenta, right? But will a Rock Slide hit both? I think that's the question.
Well, the Landorus is locked into Stomping Tantrum.
Oh, that's right. It's locked in.
So Okidogi comes back out, likely just to be sacrificed here to this Zamazenta. Amoonguss Rage Powders away the eventual Stomping Tantrum from Landorus. Heavy Slam does knock out Okidogi. And Landorus, I believe, will still survive on just a little bit of HP after this Rocky Helmet recoil.
Okay, we're going to see it right now. Yes, it is still on the board. That's really good here for Jacob. And now, guess what? Shadow Rider Calyrex is going to come back in faster once again.
Yes, it's not going to be faster, though.
Wait.
We're not making this mistake 3 games in a row, Naeem.
No.
The opposing Flutter Mane on Jeremy's side.
Oh, that's right.
I do believe it does have Speed Booster from the Booster Energy. We'll make sure we take a moment of silence here after these abilities activate, just to make sure.
My looking is intensifying. But I forgot the Flutter Mane was coming in
Yeah, Jeremy's been playing this game so well with just 3 Pokemon, and we do see Speed Booster.
Yes.
The Speed Boost activates from Flutter
Yes.
Mane. It will be the fastest thing in the field, just being faster than the Calyrex on Jacob's side. Now, does a Terra Fairy Moonblast from a Speed Booster Flutter Mane knock out this Calyrex, which,
It's
again,
also fairy typing?
which also Fairy type, it's a neutral hit. This Calyrex, knowing Jacob as a team builder and seeing the damage that the Thunderclap from Jeremy's Raging Bolt did earlier,
Sure.
I believe has at least some defensive investment.
Sure.
This Flutter Mane may need a critical hit or a special attack drop in order to really do anything this turn to this Calyrex.
Yep, there's
and
the
it does survive.
Okay, Bell, here's the Astral Barrage. It's going to hit both.
It'll hit both. It'll knock out this Zamazenta, more than enough from 5 HP. Knocks Flutter Mane down to about half, and this is where the survival on Landorus comes into play,
Yup.
as it will pick up, after the Grenade boost, it will pick up the final KO of this set. Jacob Teague now moving on to 4-2 record here in this tournament.
Nice.
Jeremy Odena at 3-3, and Jacob likely securing their spot in the top 8 players of the 36 who are present here today. An incredible set going back and forth between these two teams, and I think we learned a lot about how you can team build in such a way that you still have that surprise factor, even with the format where a lot of team compositions feel pretty set.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okie dokie was a huge surprise factor indeed. Draining punches, just getting back tons of HP, putting out a lot of pressure. It was a solid pick for sure. Yep. Definitely surprising.
The gentleman's iron hands.
Oh,
your safety goggles taunt Okie dokie, where you're able just to drain punch back HP. You get consistent recovery. That's what Iron Hands did. All of regulation B,
That's
C,
true,
D,
that's true.
E.
That's true.
All that guy did was just drain punch, drain punch, drain punch. You couldn't knock it out. Now we get to see Okie dokie do pretty much the same thing. Where those body presses, it ended up eating those pretty well, even at +3 defense from the Zamazenta. That's not something you can say about the Landorus Therian. It's not something you can say about most even resisted hits.
Yes, yes.
From that Pokemon.
Honestly, I'm just thinking about it, man. I really wish we did see a poison jab into that Raging Bolt slot and potentially even getting a poison. That could have been huge, honestly.
That poison chance, it's 30% from poison jab, which you do a little bit of math in your head. It's basically 50%.
Basically 50%.
Yeah.
So
guy like
that's 100%.
I was gonna say, guy like Neem gets those 50% rolls. That's 100% locked.
I mean, we saw it happen on stream. Like, come on.
100% of the scalds that we've seen on stream today have burned. That's the important thing.
The statistics are there. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. Oh my gosh.
The data bears out a 100% burn rate on Scald. I think that's all I need to see.
That's all I need to see.
Suicune and Top Cut, I love to see that.
Yes.
Oh,
now,
wow.
I do think Jeremy's record here is also 4-2, I believe, because he was also X1.
I believe he is now 3-3. He was 3-2. Both of these players were 3-2 going into this round. Likely going to be out of contention for top 8 going onto the Top Cut bracket. An incredible set, though, and a great display that we got to see from Jeremy's side.
Yes.
That Flutter Mane, we now know, is Speed Booster energy. But without the Icy Wind, the only speed control on the team really being that Tailwind Pelipper, which we didn't see at all in this set. And I do think that's likely correct. It's not a great matchup for an opposing Raging Bolt, especially with the booster energy.
Yeah.
The Landorus is just going to be faster and potentially knock it out. But I think we got to see what that Flutter Mane really is there for.
Yeah.
It's able just to deal out fast damage that the rest of the team doesn't really do. That's your one Pokemon that naturally outspeeds a Calyrex Shadow.
It's an emphasis on damage, right? The speed is there, but that's why we have Moonblast versus Dazzling game, because we want that single targeted big boosted damage, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, but we are extremely excited for this last round, extremely excited to move on to Top Cut. I don't know if Gert is going to be cutting us off here anytime soon, but I just wanted to say it's been a pleasure working here today. Casting these games, being here with me, with Jake, with Sam. It's been so much fun. And again, just seeing all of the really interesting teams.
Yes.
We got to see the most used restricted here in today's tournament in Zamazenta, at just about, I think it was 22% usage here today. And Calyrex Shadow, again, still having to prove something in this format.
Yes.
But moving on to Top Cut today, and on a very, very interesting team, which I'm sure we'll see a little bit more of throughout the rest of this tournament.
You know, I gotta say, side note, one of my most favorite things today is how we've been rotating on the cast. I got to cast with a lot of people. I think this was my first time casting with Sam today, which was a lot of fun. That is so cool. So cool. I'm very happy, bro. I'm not going to lie.
We're blessed.
We're so blessed.
We're so blessed.
But I think we are going to go ahead and switch off now.
Yeah, I think we are heading to a break finally before Top Cut. But you all stay tuned. We're going to see if you thought that last set was good.
Wait till you see top 8, baby.
Even higher, the intensity is getting cranked when we come back from this break. Stay right back with us here, Balance Patch.